In the Coronation Special that I put out, I left out at least 2 things, and we're gonna talk about those 2 things today. One of which is the drama with Prince Harry, the Sussex drama, and Meghan Markle. We're gonna do a little goss sesh. But we're also, real quick, going to touch on Lady Louise. Her outfit was beautiful. I was going to have that in my original, but I just kept stumbling over my words, so I cut it out. But here it is. It is beautiful. For her, at her age and whatnot, like, I'm not going to go back in time to look at some of her older outfits, but I will say that this is like the best thing I've ever seen her in. It is so beautiful and flattering to her. The colors are great, and she looked absolutely lovely. Many of you mentioned that in the comments, so I did want to touch base on it really quickly. Now, today, we have tea. Hey everybody, I'm Beebs Kelley. Thank you so much for being here with me today. We are just gonna hop right in. I have no intro planned. This is it. We're just gonna do it. I'm gonna get ready while we gossip about the Sussex drama. Whew, okay, we're going to get today back on track. Today is one of those days where things started out and they were going. And then all of a sudden, things started to get dicey. And, you know, there were spills, no big deal. There was chaos amongst the children, and it was just too early for it all. It was like still 7 a.m. and it was a Saturday today. It is a Saturday today. So we just weren't prepared for it, I don't think, the chaos. So, you know, we've gotten pretty good at recognizing when a moment or a day is starting to slide in the wrong direction. And my partner and I now just take turns. If the day is getting weird, one of us take the kids outside, the other, you know, can work or get some quiet time or whatever is needed, or, you know, run the errands. We kind of divide and conquer. But the recipe for my kids is outside. And we live in a little city condo, so we have to go, you know, down the street to the park, to the playground, and we're really lucky. We just had a new playground open up nearby, which is wonderful and fabulous. We just kind of try to freeze and regroup somehow with getting the kids outside and making it work. And then literally every time the day gets back on track. So that's where we are today, and that's how today started. He took the kids out for some energy expenditure, and I am able to chat with you guys and get a little work done today. So that's gonna be good. All will be right again. That's what usually happens. When I did my Coronation Special, I did not want the Prince Harry drama to be part of my video, because I just wanted to like let that video be about all the positive stuff that happened that day and how beautiful it was and stuff like that. And some of you guys watched it. Thank you to those of you who did. I get, you know, most of you come here for other stuff, but I thought it was really significant. So I made that video and let that be and left Harry out of it on purpose so that today we can chat about the Harry situation. You know how if something's getting dicey, like my morning, people will be like, it's getting hairy. I just realized that. Harry is getting hairy. Harry getting hairy. Sorry. It's still early. The fact that Harry came, I think, was good. I think that the fact that Meghan didn't come, I think, was good. People are really split on why she decided not to come. I definitely wholeheartedly just think she didn't want to be booed and didn't want to face the people that she did screwed up stuff to. That's exactly what narcissistic types of people tend to do. They'll be kind of cowardly after pitching a fit. You know, they'll pitch a fit and then they'll kind of try to deflect blame or shift blame. And I think that's what we saw now in retrospect. You know, they did all those projects together, and then all of a sudden Harry did Spare and stuff all by himself. She was like, you know what, I'm going to let Harry take the fall for Oprah and Netflix and the stuff that we've said, racism comments and stuff like that. I think she just didn't want to be blamed for it anymore because it didn't go the way she thought it would. And so she's kind of been quiet and backed away so that Harry can be, in our minds, in the public's minds, especially people who don't pay as close of attention, you know, then Harry will just seem like the one who was causing all the ruckus because of his book and stuff, capping it all off, and his interviews and stuff being the last thing we've heard from them. Then people will just kind of, it'll go down in our minds history that it was all Harry. But it wasn't, obviously. Personally, I think that's kind of what her tactic was like, well, I'm just going to let Harry take the fall for everything and move on. And so she couldn't really come to the coronation because then she would have to face people and it would remind people. You guys have all dealt with this. People will pitch a huge fit. They will like completely overreact over stuff and like just flip out and act insane. And then they expect people to just pretend like it didn't happen, or they try to shift blame and be like, well, you know, if so-and-so hadn't done blah, 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 then I wouldn't have lost my cool. And, you know, like whatever. They always do that. They have like 1,000 and 1.5 million excuses for whatever they did that was screwed up. And then they expect people to just go back to normal and feel normal again. And it's this horrible cycle. And if you don't, like if you're with somebody narcissistic and toxic, if you don't hop on the bandwagon and start acting chipper after they're like, well, yeah, that was pretty crazy, but it sure as heck wouldn't have happened if blah, blah, blah. If you don't agree with them and like start acting normal again, then they get really mad at you. And it's really hard to deal with. This brush isn't doing it for me, please. Okay. She flips out, she makes this big scene and is nowhere to be found afterwards to take any responsibility or clear the air or fix anything, and she just shipped Harry off to deal with all that on his own. And, you know, of course, Harry's not innocent here. He was doing screwed up stuff too, but it just seems like classic tactics. I don't think she would have ever come after all of that because of those reasons. And I also think that that is part of why she's distancing herself, is to try to get away with less blame. What do you guys think? That's totally my current opinion. Who knows? Obviously, this is just gossip. This is just fun to chat about sometimes. You know, don't take anything too seriously here, okay? I don't pay attention to any gossip besides that of what's going on with the royal family. I don't know why. I've just never had any interest in like Hollywood gossip at all. I could care less what's going on with like Hollywood stars or actors or singers. Like, I don't really care. As I've said before, Catherine is like a role model of mine. I've always paid a little bit of attention to what's going on with them, specifically Catherine and William, because I like her. I like her early childhood education initiatives. I like so much about her. That's not what we're talking about today. So I do like paying attention to what's going on with her. And when all this drama started happening with Harry, man, that was wild. And so I just kind of happened to pay attention to it because of Catherine. And, you know, I thought at first that Meghan was an excellent choice. And being somebody who's been in like pageants before, I thought to myself, well, then this should be easy for her, some of these types of things to learn, like the etiquette type of stuff, obviously on a way smaller scale. You know, local pageants is not the same as the royal family, but I went through etiquette classes and stuff like that. She'd be able to learn that sort of stuff. She'd be able to learn like public speaking tips really easily because she was an actress. So I thought to myself, well, that's actually a good choice. I think, you know, she should be fine. And then she wasn't. So anyway, that's how I started paying attention to all of this drama with Harry and Meghan. And it was just really, I hate using the word triggering because it seems so snowflakey, but like it reminded me, that's what I should say. It reminded me so much of the toxic people and situations that I had been through before in the past. And that's all I could see was this toxic nonsense happening. And it was Harry and Meghan doing it. Some of the time people just think, what does it matter? We don't really know. And it's like, well, yeah, true. But when you look at people who are behaving in really bad ways, you can see patterns that are helpful in your real life to recognize bad behaviors. And so that's kind of the approach that I was taking when I did cover Harry and Meghan, like, this is what this type of manipulative tactic looks like in real life. Like, if you are going through something with somebody that's like really hard and stressful and negative, and you're trying to figure out if this is right or not, because that's what happens, you get confused and you're like, I don't even know which way is up anymore, I guess, because everything that's happening to me is so confusing. Then this is an example, you know, and I thought that would be helpful. So some of my older videos, like way back, are more focused on the drama and the negative stuff that was going on surrounding Harry and Meghan. But like, that's not my passion to talk about, but I still enjoy talking about it with you guys when we're just like having a chatty time. I'm not trying to be like offensive or anything. I know some people really hate gossip, and I hate gossip in real life too. Like in my personal life, I absolutely do. But I think that, you know, it's okay sometimes to just have a fun chat, and that's what this is about. So that's what we're doing. Please don't be offended. We'll be back to talking about Meghan's fashions next time. Back on subject. Sorry. Apparently, Harry and Meghan made an ultimatum to his family that he refuses to talk to them until they either watch the Netflix documentary or read Spare, or both. What? How insane! Like, we all who have been through dramatic times with our family wish that we could just sit there and get it all out and tell them all the stuff that went wrong, or explain every choice we ever made so that they're not mad at us about it, especially like really young adults or like teenagers. You know, you just want to get it out and get it off your chest, and you want to rage at it a little bit, but you also just feel like you can't move forward with somebody until you have laid it all out on the table. That is a normal feeling, but it is not normal to actually go through with it in the absence of a therapist, because that's just insane. There's two sides to every story, pretty much, and, you know, even if the one person is wrong, they still have a side to their story, you know what I mean? And so doing it on this grand public scale is even more bizarre. But it's bizarre in the first place to even think that that was like a normal thing to demand of your family. That's insane. I have long said Harry lacks the understanding of just how extraordinary his family is and his situation, and even him in history. Like, being the son of a king is a big deal in the history books. Even just that alone is a huge deal. And Harry just doesn't seem to get the extraordinary circumstances his family is under. And, you know, famous people have talked about this, people whose parents are famous, people who are like child stars, that it's not easy growing up in the public eye and not having normalness as a kid. It just makes you feel so different. And I totally get that and sympathize with that. I'm not saying that's wrong or invalidating that. It is different and it is weird and stuff like that. But every kid and every human goes through crazy stuff as kids, or stuff that's weird, or stuff that bothers them a lot. It just might be on a much smaller scale, or it might be a private thing that nobody else knows about. Literally every one of us. That's part of the human experience. I'm not saying that people need to go through bad stuff, or that going through bad stuff is normal, but it's common. And even if you don't go through something bad like yourself, like within yourself or something like that, maybe, you know, you just had some experiences that were very unique or very different or whatever. And these are the things that shape us. And so for Harry, it was simply dealing with a really high profile family and existence. And I get and respect that that was hard for him. But this demanding that his family read his whinge fest, watch his terrible and boring Netflix documentary, is just absurd. Like, how weird can you be? This is why, like, therapists say, journal about this, or write a letter to this person, and don't you send it, bring it in here to the therapist's office. That's why they do that, because you need to get these things off your chest on your own and work through them on your own, because half the time the problem is within you. Some of the time the problem is with the other person in the situation, yes, But that doesn't mean that you should go to town explaining all the ways that you think you were wronged. They may very well think they were wronged too. Like, you just have to accept that as part of life. You're not going to see eye to eye with everybody. You're going to experience conflict, and it's not always going to get resolved properly or in the way that you like or the way that you want. It's just not. That's just not a thing. And we all have to swallow that eventually and understand that eventually. But that's what shows character, is when you're able to get through something difficult and move forward and be a grown-up about it. And that's why it's hard. In my opinion, Harry really screwed up, and his ultimatum that he gave the royal family, first he made a public ultimatum. You must apologize publicly to my wife and I before we'll even consider coming to the coronation. Well, that's not going to happen when you've been the one being a total douche. Sorry. So he had to have something. So he's like, well, then I won't speak to anybody. Cool. Good. In fact, that reminds me of one time I had something similar happen. There was somebody I was just kind of distancing myself in a circle of close, like, friends, and didn't get along very well, and it was kind of hard to conversate and stuff like that. We kind of, like, just didn't vibe, you know? They had been kind of toxic sometimes, but I wasn't making a big stink about it. And they got bent out of shape about something and are like, yeah, I don't even want to, like, ever hang out again. It was like, yeah, okay, it's fine. I don't either. That's kind of what I think was going on there. They were like, cool, we don't really want to talk to you either, because everything we have ever said to you, no matter how private and tender of a moment, no matter how vulnerable we were, you have put it out in the world for everybody to see. You would think that if there was one thing that Harry understood, it was privacy, but evidently not. I'm team glad Harry was in and out really fast. Some people are like, oh, he should have stayed or whatever. I don't think so. He's clearly a total douche canoe right now, you know? Maybe he's just in a bad season of his life where he's not able to be rational or kind. You know, sometimes people go through a bad season. Maybe he's actually that way. We will never know. It was just a sad sight seeing him there, walking, you know, in, looking so suddenly out of place and clearly feeling uncomfortable. And I saw an article talking about how we have all had to go around people that we weren't talking to or had arguments with, come back into the room after having caused a stink and said sorry or something like that, and how hard that can be to do. And it's like, yes, it is. But the problem is that Harry made no effort to fix his bad behaviors. He didn't say sorry. He didn't fix anything. The only thing he ever did was walk back that they called the royal family racist, which they did. So that's just saying, yeah, we exaggerated. That's all that said. That wasn't saying we're sorry we exaggerated. We should not have let that go in the media for so long. So not really the same. So I didn't fully agree with what she was saying. Strange it must have been for him to be around that environment again and to be alone in it. Because if you're with somebody who, you know, maybe one way or the other is at that moment bringing out less good in you, and then all of a sudden you're alone without them in an old environment, it's a weird, hollow sort of feeling. You feel so out of place, you feel so confused, it feels like there's this weird echo and emptiness around you. And I just feel like that's what Harry was feeling. What do you guys think? And I saw like how he was kept looking over. It looked like he was looking at Charlotte at one point. It looked like he was looking over at Will. It just seemed like there was maybe a part of him that kind of felt a little bit of regret, or like this isn't exactly what he wanted necessarily, but who knows? Maybe he did just really hate everybody that much that he really did want everything over with and never really wanted a good relationship with anybody ever again. Who knows? Maybe there's a part of him that thought this would all play out differently and thought, you know, I'll tell them what is wrong. I'll lay out these problems. They're going to want to fix it. And that's just immaturity, you know? I think maybe if you think that you can rage at somebody in a really public manner and affect their lives, like affect their reputation and affect their livelihoods or their general lives and well-being in a negative way, and then just come back into the fray, you know, you can't. Or you expect them, they're going to want to fix it after that? No. I don't understand what Harry is thinking or feeling in the images from the coronation, but it felt sad to me. And I honestly expected to just be like, ugh, there he is. Ugh, bleh. But I was like, oh, that looks so depressing and hollow, like I said. I'm really curious to know how others interpreted it, because of course we're all influenced by our own life experiences. I love our community here, and you guys have excellent insight and background knowledge, and those of you from the UK teach me so much. I absolutely love it and appreciate it. So I'd really like to know what some of you guys think about it, and like what people in the UK, how they felt about having Harry back. Because I haven't seen too much about it, which is good. Like, I don't think people should have been covering Harry any more than they already have. Apparently, Meghan, like, went hiking one of the days that, I don't remember if it was Sunday or Saturday. I feel like they were saying that on Saturday she went out hiking with friends, but that was supposed to be Archie's birthday and the whole reason why she didn't come. So if it was Saturday, so the only reason she would have done that on that day would be to show people that she did not attend the coronation, not because of Archie's birthday, but because she didn't want to. Either she couldn't be bothered with it, or she just was still that pissed off. And so that's the only reason why she would have had the paparazzi come and get pictures of her hiking on Archie's birthday / coronation day. To show people the real reason that, no, we weren't celebrating Archie's birthday that day. I bet if there's another book or Netflix series, it'll be, we actually celebrated Archie's birthday on Sunday after Harry had come back. If it wasn't Saturday and she was out hiking Sunday, then who cares? But I suppose if you are like a total a-hole to somebody's family, you might skip those events no matter who you are or what the event is, you know? Okay. So now we have to talk about this. Harry's lawsuit. It has been revealed that part of why he's so upset and pursuing this lawsuit is basically because that's why his ex broke up with him. So I wonder how that makes Meghan feel. That tabloids all said like that he revealed who the real true love of his life was. And, you know, people talk about how much happier he looked when he was with Chelsea Davy, and even Cressida, he seemed to be much happier with those girls in terms of the pictures that you saw and stuff like that. If you think about it, this guy was raised in such an extraordinary circumstance that being with somebody who at least understands some of the customs and traditions that are literally your whole family's involved with and value, being with somebody who really understands those traditions and stuff already obviously was probably pretty important for someone like that. I'm saying that somebody who doesn't understand his like culture and customs and history and stuff like that and isn't willing to respect it or learn it, like cue curtsy footage to illustrate my point, then it could be pretty difficult for him probably. He was in love with her and wanted to marry her, and she wouldn't because of the privacy intrusions. And he's putting that out there in this court documents. It just seems so petty at this point. It seems like so much of everything that's going on with Harry it gets increasingly petty. And I mean, it already was. Everything has been petty since South Africa. Since nobody's asked me if I'm okay. Really? I highly doubt that. There's no way that just nobody's been asking her if she's okay. What nonsense. What are you guys doing for Mother's Day? Anybody doing anything fun? Tell me in the comments. I am doing nothing. Tomorrow is Mother's Day here in the US, and clean the house today so that tomorrow I can sit still as much as possible. Several of you have asked me what lip stuff I use. I just use lip liner most of the time and fill my lip completely, and then I'll put on just a tiny bit of lipstick and then some gloss. But not always. A lot of the times I just do lip liner, maybe a little gloss on top, because I just don't like the smudginess that comes with lipstick. I am putting lashes on today just because I'm doing it. Get ready with me. I feel like you're supposed to put on lashes. Yeah, I do lashes. I'm just going to do Ardell Demi Wispies. They're really natural looking. You know, they're not my favorite, actually. I tried them because somebody had recommended them to me. And I was like, well, okay, I'll give them a try. I really trusted her recommendation. And they are good lashes. Don't get me wrong. These are good lashes. But my natural lashes are fairly long. So then these just don't do that much for me. They make my lashes look a little bit longer and a little bit thicker, like they show up a little bit better on camera, but they're not like giving me enough to make it worth it to pop them on all the time. You know what I mean by that? Like, they're not enough to really change my look that much, so they're kind of not necessarily worth my troubles. I do like them. They're just not my favorite of all things. That's all. My favorites are the ones I showed you in my last Get Ready With Me. Oh, this isn't ready. Oh my gosh, I was telling you about my lips. Sorry. I use lip liners. Now, this is embarrassing. I have this Sonia Kashuk lip liner that's years old. I have several of them because it was my favorite color. She had 3 colors that I loved. This one's the natural. It's just called natural that I have on today. And then she had one that was like Whisper Rose that was kind of pinkish that I absolutely loved. And then there was one more, nude. Absolutely loved them. I bought like tons. There was a sale at Target and then COVID happened. Never used them during that time. Now I have tons of them to get through before they dry up or like get gross. I don't know what's going to happen to them. Sonia Kashuk isn't sold in my Target anymore and in any of the Targets in the city. So I'm not sure if she's still doing lip liners or not, but I sure as heck like them. So if she is, if you see a Sonia Kashuk lip liner, get it. It's good quality. But I think they stopped. I think maybe they're out of business or something. I don't know. Maybe I should Google it for you. Occasionally I can find a good color from NYX, NYX brand. And I like their eyeliners a lot. Their lip liners seem okay. Sometimes their formula is a little creamy for me. I honestly, I never used to wear lip makeup, like lip stick or anything. I used to just do plain lips. That's what you're getting. I always did my eye makeup, but I didn't like doing my lip makeup because I hate it being smudgy. Like I said, I don't like things that are getting smudgy and rubbing off and looking messy. I just don't like that. So I tried lip stains for a while, but those are kind of tricky to get a good lip stain. Most of the time, they just are not great. They either taste really gross, make your lips feel really, really dry and weird, or they don't look that good. So lip stains, I've had a hard time finding good ones, but I love them when you can find a good one. I used to have one that was shaped, it looked like a marker, like a highlighting marker or something. And I liked that one a lot, but they don't make that anymore either. And I found these lip liners. And I've been doing that like ever since, just wearing a lip liner. And then if I want gloss or stick on, I can. I also live somewhere where oftentimes it's quite windy, so I don't like my hair getting stuck in my lips either. That's just so gross. And lip liner, it doesn't do that. It doesn't stick to anything. And it lasts really, really well. I fill in my whole lip. I never overline my lip because my lips are pretty good size for my face already. I do that. And I like it. It works well for me, and you can try it too. A lot of us, the reason why we don't wear enough lipstick or why we don't wear lipstick as often as we might want to is because it's not a very convenient product to wear. You know what I mean? It's not like a super wearable product. The thing that I don't like about these Ardell Demi Wispies, the main thing that's driving me crazy right now, is that they like want to be straight. They don't want to curve to my eyeball. And that's not the goal. The goal is for it to curve to your eyeball and stay there. That's crazy. Why is it popping up like that? It's so annoying. if you're like me and the reason why you're not wearing lipstick is because it gets messy or it's hard to apply or whatever, then try the lip liner thing. That's what I've been doing for years, except for COVID times, and I love it. And it works really, really well in my opinion, and it looks nice. Today I'm gonna put on Rose Velvet. It's by Revlon. It's super lustrous cream lipstick, and I really like it. It's very pretty. It matches this liner really well. When I apply it, I can let the lipstick rub off or wipe off on my kids' cheeks, and then I still have my liner attached, which is great. So yeah, that's why I really like it. And then I oftentimes apply gloss. My favorite gloss is the Glacier gloss from ColourPop. It's sparkly and clear and comfortable. It's nice and slippy. It's not sticky at all, and I just really like it. And I tend to just apply my gloss in the center lately. Almost like a highlight at the center of your lips. Well, my makeup is all finished. How about you? Did you get yours done? We were doing it together, weren't we? What do you guys think has been going on with Harry and Meghan? A lot of people think that they're gonna get divorced soon and that they're not getting along, and I don't doubt it. After everything they have done and the negative vibes they've put out into the world, the criticisms of literally everybody else under the sun except for themselves, you know, those types of things are going to bring bad energy to you, probably, if you believe in karma. And then on top of it, you know, none of their stuff was widely well received. Yes, it was widely watched or read or bought or whatever because of the buzziness around them, and the news wanted it. Yes, it performed pretty good in terms of numbers, but it was not well received. It was a very negative reception from the majority of the public, and they lost a dramatic amount of support rather than gain it. And the only reason why they were doing those things was to gain more support. They weren't doing those things to lose support, obviously. So the fact that they lost so much support makes it certainly going to be a tense experience at home. They're certainly going to be frustrated. How could they not be? They were going to do all of this stuff and then reconcile somehow by way of getting an apology or something, is what they expected before Queen Elizabeth passed away. That was their game plan. And so that contributed to this not working, but I don't think this stuff would have worked no matter what, because they are just not being very nice to others. And people are fed up with it, you know? I mean, you have a prince and some chick who married him, who were some of the most well-known and wealthy people out there, complaining non-stop about stuff and then backtracking and lying and exaggerating, just doing all this sorts of petty stuff that people recognize more than you would think, and people don't like it. So of course it's not going to be well received, and of course it's going to cause tension for them at home, and they're going to be pissed at each other. I hope you didn't mind this little get ready with me while we chatted about Harry's drama. And I hope you didn't mind me keeping it in a separate video. That's it for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you do not miss this week's fashion edition coming out on Friday. And I will see you guys next time. Have a happy day. Bye! The Sussex